Hi everyone. Today I'm going to alter this wallet box, but the things that I'm going to do are can be used in your art journal, on canvases, on whatever mixed media project that you want to do. So this is a men's wallet box, and the wallet is already gone, and I want to embellish and pretty this box. On the underside I just glued down a piece of scrapbook paper. You don't know why, first time I've done it. So I'm going to do the top. For that, for right now, I'm removing the bottom and going to work on the top of my box, on the lid. I'm going to do some, I want some texture on top, and I'm going to use joint compound. I'm not using modeling paste. It's I think it's too expensive, and I like using this. I will buy this kind of bucket in the hardware store, and it will last me forever. It just cheaper that way, for me at least. If you like modeling paste, go for it. You don't have to. So I'm just going to put down stencil and trying to smooth it so I won't have too much lines showing when I will lift it. I'm also scraping it so it won't be too raised, but that's up to you what you would like it to look like. So I'm lifting it. I'm going to take the excess, whatever I can, off the stencil. And this needs to be washed as fast as you can. If you let it dry, it will ruin your stencil. With this kind of little stencil, when I don't want to just leave everything and rush to clean it, I'm just taking a baby wipe and putting it like this so it won't dry, and leaving it until later to wash it. You can also have wet towel on the side, and again when you're finished with the stencil, just put it inside so it won't dry with the joint compound or modeling paste on it. So this is the first layer of my on my box, and I'm going to move it aside. This needs to dry before I'll work on it. And now I've made some embellishments to go on top of it. That's what I really wanted to show you today. So I've played with my new hot glue gun that is less drippy than the other ones, and what I've done is this kind of embellishments and practiced, and that's what I came up with. So I want to show you how I've done this, and I've made it on a fabric, a quite sturdy one like canvas, and I've picked it for the sturdiness, but also it has texture. I've also tried it on this kind of fabric because I wanted texture. So now I've thought about it, and if you don't want to, you don't have to use fabric. You can try and do it on a watercolor paper because it has a little bit of a texture to it, or maybe even on tissue paper. So what I've done is I'm going to do a large leaf so you can do what I'm doing. I'm starting by drawing a leaf like so, and let's hope it's warm. And now I'm going to do the lines with the hot glue gun. Now I find that I can almost put the nozzle of the hot glue gun to the surface, and then I get an even line. This is bothering me, removing it. So I'm putting it to the surface at an angle, and it just helps me do a finer line with the hot glue gun. Another tip for you is when you're doing it, watch for the end point. So if you start here, watch for it, and your hand will go smoother towards that point at the end. Now I'm just going to do some more lines here. I know I didn't draw it, I don't know, but I'm adding. Now you've got most of the times you will have thin strings of glue, and someone told me to get rid of them after all is dry, is just use your heat tool and they will melt away. I haven't tried it, but maybe I will this time. Now if I think I've got a thin line that will not show, I'm just going over and adding a little bit more glue and smoothing it with the nozzle. Just don't put your finger to it. So I've got my leaf, and now I'm going to do here, I'm going to make it wider. I don't want it, I just doing it so when it will dry, I want to show you something, how I'm going to trim it. If you make a mistake and it's thicker than you wanted, that's what I want to show you. So this needs to dry. I'm turning off my glue gun, putting it aside. I already have one here, and I've got those strings. I will try to use my heat tool. What's happening to me? My heat tool is not that great, so I don't know if it will work, but we'll see. Okay, it worked. Good to know. No strings now. But now I need to let it dry again so I can work on it. Now, the leaves I've showed you, it was I've done with black, I've done it with dark olive green, but you can do whatever color you want. This heart I've made with two shades of red, a darker one here and a lighter one here. again, experiment, have fun with it. So I'm going to, let's see, I'll do this with in black, and you can also do it if you are afraid that it won't get good coverage. You can use gesso first and then the paint. I'm not really concerned, so I'm going to just use black acrylic paint on top. And here you need to go with the brush in all directions, so it will get inside everything, the texture, the crevices, all sides of the raised glue. Here we go. Let's be adventurous with this leaf. I'm going to take another green, ocean green, and it's still wet here, so it's going to mix. Here we go. So I've got this that needs to be completely dry before I'm moving on. And let's see if this is, yeah, that's also dry. I'm going to use the heat tool again. No more strings, that's good. So what I wanted to show you now is after I'm painting my leaf, and where is my I want to take it out of the fabric or paper if you are using paper. And if you made a mistake and you've got a place where you have too much glue, and I'm using nail scissors, it's easier to work with the curve, and it's easier to do to fussy cut. And I'm just going in and removing what I didn't like and was too wide. Now, cutting the shape out of the fabric is sometimes a little bit tricky, but can be done. Now, another tip I have for you: when you're cutting your shape, hold the scissors in an angle, not straight, but like this, like a 45 degrees angle. So when you are cutting, it will get inside, like, or underneath, a little bit underneath the lines of the glue, and then you won't have excess fabric sticking from the side. So of course the cutting is after you've painted your element and it's dry, then I'm doing the cutting. Now I will this needs to be dry before I'm moving on to make all my texture more pronounced with gilding wax, or with the what I've showed you in another video. These are my substitute cheap stuff substitute forget it. Gilding wax is expensive. This is what I'm doing instead. This and it has a video. This is coconut oil with oil pastels melted together, and it, for me, it works. So when this is dry, I'm just going over like this. I hope I have a dry area. Yeah. And To all those who asked me about it going rancid, it didn't go rancid on me. I don't know why do you think it will go rancid, but and afterwards I will spray it with fixative. If you don't have fixative, use the cheapest hairspray you can find, and it just seals everything. So that's what I've done to make this. And of course you don't have to use gold. If we are experimenting and being bold, you can use whatever you want. I'm taking now silver, less pronounced, less shows, but also interesting, so you can play with it and do whatever embellishment you want. And just to show you, I'll cut it. It's just an example to show how I made the embellishments, and now I can use it in one of my art journals. I can use it on any kind of mixed media project that I'm planning. So the paint is still wet, but I really wanted to show you how it looks. Here it is. So you can do your own unique embellishments and not a store-bought. So moving this aside, and this is still wet, so I'll get back to you when it's dry and we can continue. I'll be back. I'm back. This is dry, and now I'm going to cover it with black paint, and you can also use gesso, because I know that I want to do the same thing I've done on the leaves and pick all the details with gold. That's why I'm now going in with black all over. Otherwise you can put white gesso and do whatever colors you want. You can also use black gesso if you have it. So sky's the limit. You can do whatever you fancy. I'm trying to get inside all this texture, and I'm doing it very, very gently with a soft brush, because I'm always worried that it's not completely dry and that it will get ruined. I'm thinking I've got a metallic green, and I'm thinking of adding it, and we'll see. I'm also adding it to the black because it's too green, it's too, I don't know how to put it in words. Just thought it will give a nice I don't know, variation to the background instead of all black. And as I said, there will be a gold to pick all the details on top, but still, if I won't like it, I'll just go over with black on top of it if I feel it's too much, this green. And I'm just alternating between the black and the green until I feel there is a nice blending of the two. And here I still got a little bit white from the joint compound, So I'm going over it. When you do texture with a modeling paste or joint compound, start and you paint it, just start moving it around to see that you didn't miss something and white is showing up, like I'm doing right now. Okay, so again, this needs to dry. Let's see if I can do it with my heat tool, so to save time. Yeah. So now I'm going to take, I do have a gilding wax. I'm putting down a little bit here. If you like working with a paintbrush, do it with a paintbrush. I like to smear it on my finger and just going all over the details. Now if you want, you can also do a texture on the sides. I didn't feel that I needed it, so I've stuck only to the top of my box. Going over the sides a little bit, and it's picking up all kinds of details, so it's not completely black. Yeah. Here it is. That's my background. Very dramatic. You can do pastels and do another effect altogether different. So now I want to use here, just so you will see, here is the leaf that I've done as a demonstration, and now I want to play with the other leaves I've done and make some kind of interesting pattern here. Nope. Let's see. You see, I'm just playing with it. There is no rules. There are no rules. I'm kind of out of it today, I think. Nope. I'm really not sure how to place them. Let's see. Yeah, this is it. That's what I want. So I'm just going to glue them, and this is it. That's my box. I'm using silicone glue. This is like Yoo-hoo glue if you are looking for it. The only one I know. This is local brand from my cheap store. So maybe I'll switch this because yeah. So it's good that it's on fabric. Now it's flexible and I can work with it, but it's sturdy, it won't tear. So that's a really good thing. I could probably also glue them down with my hot glue gun, but I've turned it off, so I'm just going to put it down like so, and it will need to have some pressure on top just to hold it until it's dry. Another good thing with this silicone glue is that it doesn't dry fast, so if I'm not sure about the placement, I can still move the leaves until I'm satisfied. Round. Yeah. So this is it. That's my box. Here is the bottom. And I will put a little bit of pressure for a while, just so I'll make sure it stays in place. And this is it. I hope you liked it. I hope you'll try doing your own embellishments this way and play around. Thank you for watching, and thanks for leaving me comments below. I'll be seeing you in my next video. Bye for now.